The year is 1806. The 27-year-old frontier logistical officer Zebulon Pike is about to embark on his second journey into the Louisiana Territory, a vast and uncharted expanse that Thomas Jefferson purchased from France in 1803. This land would become a cornerstone of the expanding American empire. The situation was far more precarious than it perhaps seems today. To the north, in Canada, the British Empire still controlled extensive territories even after American independence. It was in York, later renamed Toronto, where Pike would die 7 years later during America's next conflict with the British. To the south, the United States was rapidly expanding. Beyond the original 13 colonies, Vermont, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Ohio had joined the Union, and the nation laid claim to vast territories that would become the Deep South and Midwest. Further south, the American Empire faced the formidable Spanish Empire, which controlled Florida, lands east of the critical port of New Orleans, and the sprawling territories southwest of the Louisiana Territory, including present-day Mexico. To the north of the Spanish Empire lay Oregon country, an area claimed by at least 4 imperial powers, but still under the control of indigenous peoples. And here, in the southwest of the lands claimed by the United States, sat a mountain the Spanish called El Capitan, which Americans would later rename Pike's Peak. In St. Louis, on the frontier of lands truly controlled by the American government, Zebulon Pike prepared for his second expedition into the uncharted Louisiana Territory. It was July, a later start than recommended, due to Pike's extended excursion during his previous mission in 1805. Unlike the expedition of Lewis and Clark, which was already making its way back to St. Louis, Pike's mission was organized not directly by President Thomas Jefferson, but by James Wilkinson, the ranking military officer in the United States. Wilkinson tasked Pike with several objectives: to return Osage natives to their homeland as part of a larger peacekeeping mission, to scout the land for potential trespassers from other imperial powers, and most importantly, to map out uncharted territory in the southwest of the Louisiana Purchase. Thus, on July 15th, Zebulon Pike embarked on his mission to expand the American Empire into the southwest. Pike set out with 23 Americans, a combination of soldiers and civilians, and about twice as many Osage natives who had been ransomed to the U.S. government by the Potawatomi people. He first traveled north along the west bank of the Mississippi River, then followed the Missouri River to its confluence with the Osage River. He continued along that waterway into what is today the western portion of Missouri. In those early days, in an incident often compared to the good luck of the Lewis and Clark expedition, whose dog Seaman survived the entire round trip, one of Pike's 2 dogs ran away. Pike lamented that his remaining dog refused to fetch anything out of the water. By mid-August, Pike reached the Osage Nation and returned the hostages, though many had already left his party to return to their villages before the official handoff. After leaving the Osage, Pike and his men traveled northwest to a location now known as the Pawnee Village site in today's southern Nebraska. Here, his encounter proved to be significantly more consequential. He arrived in September, shortly after Spanish expeditionist Lieutenant Facundo Melgares had left, and found the village flying the Spanish flag. After spending several weeks in the village, Pike eventually convinced its council to replace the Spanish flag with the flag of the United States. When Pike and his men prepared to continue west, the Pawnee threatened to stop them by force. According to Pike's account, he warned the Pawnee that his men would not be turned back by words and were willing to die, knowing that our great father would send our warriors there to gather our bones and revenge our deaths. Whether this was a dramatic retelling or not, the Pawnee allowed Pike to continue on his way. While Pike had this pivotal encounter during his southwest expedition, Lewis and Clark arrived back in St. Louis, concluding their 2-year journey to the coast. Pike then traveled south to the Arkansas River in what is today central Kansas. There, his party split in 2, with James Wilkinson, son of General Wilkinson, leading a smaller group down the Arkansas River and eventually back to St. Louis. Pike led the majority of the original party upstream towards modern-day Colorado. In yet another misadventure, one of Pike's men accidentally shot the party's only remaining dog during a day of relaxation and target practice. Nevertheless, the party continued west, surviving largely on the abundant buffalo still found in the region during this period. Pike was famously disappointed in the large expanse that he saw before him, writing in his journals, "This vast plains of the Western Hemisphere may become in time as celebrated as the sandy deserts of Africa." This account contributed to the American myth of a great American desert in the heartland. In the next video, we will explore the most famous moments of Pike's expedition, his attempt to scale the mountain that would later be named Pike's Peak, and his capture by Spanish forces when he made camp on the Rio Grande. See you then.